Have you ever wondered what at all the job of a startup CEO is? And if you're a startup CEO, have you wondered what exactly you should be doing? In today's episode, we are going to be looking at what you should be doing as the CEO of a startup. So stay tuned. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Entrepreneur Weekly, the channel for upcoming entrepreneurs where we talk about entrepreneurship and startup life. My name is Isaac, and if you have already subscribed to the channel, thank you for your support. Alright, so let's jump right into it. Alright, so before we begin, to make it easy for you to jump to different sections of the video, I have included timestamps in the description. So if you go into the description, you can click on a timestamp to jump to another section of the video. Alright, so to begin, when you start a company, what you actually do as the CEO of your startup depends on a number of things. So first of all, what kind of company you're running, what industry you are in, the stage that your company has reached, whether you have co-founders or not, whether you have employees or not, and even what skills that you have. So all of these things determine what you'll be doing on a day-to-day basis as the CEO of your company. Now, one thing that happens is that when you start right from the beginning, depending on whether you have co-founders or not, you would find yourself doing a lot of things. And if you haven't watched my video on whether you should be a solo founder or you should have co-founders, I have linked to it up there. Go check it out. And yeah, so depending on whether you have co-founders or not, you'll be doing quite a number of things. It is not uncommon to see the CEO of a startup wear several hats. And in my case, when I started my company, Sesi Technologies, I didn't have co-founders. I started as a solo founder, and I found myself having to do a lot of things. And it turned out that around the time I was starting, I couldn't find anyone that had the right skills, that complemented my skills, and who was willing to start a company with me. So I found myself doing a lot of things. I wrote code, I did marketing, I did sales, I did procurement, customer support, accounting. Basically, I did almost everything. I didn't have the funds at that time to hire a full-time engineering team. So I had 3 engineers that were working on contracts whom I paid per unit that they assembled, and it took a while before I actually hired my first employee. So when you start in the beginning, it's very common to find yourself doing a lot of things or wearing a lot of hats based on the skills that you have. So then somewhere in 2019, I hired my first full-time employee, and her official role was head of operations or operations lead. And essentially, even though she had the role of operations lead, all we did was just split the job that had to be done. So instead of doing accounting and administration and all of those things, I moved some of those tasks over to her, and then I focused on things that were more in line with my skills and my strengths. So then we had our 3rd employee, our 4th employee, our 5th employee, and things became more structured, and my roles began to also evolve. I wasn't handling accounting anymore. I wasn't handling things related to administration anymore. I was handling more of business development and fundraising, trying to keep the company afloat. So then as your company grows and begins to evolve, it's important to figure out what exactly you should be doing as CEO. And what is usually said is that as CEO, your job is to work on the business and not in the business, which means that even though you start with trying to do almost everything yourself, you have to get to a point where you are not involved in the day-to-day management or operations of your company at a very low level. You should be working on the business, and I'm going to explain to you what working on the business means in a jiffy. So working on a business means that you're doing things that is moving the company forward at a higher level rather than having to perform day-to-day structured everyday tasks. So typically you would have employees that are working in the business that are performing specific tasks, assigned tasks, doing day-to-day things. You as the CEO have to be working on the business. What is going to move the business forward? What is our strategy? What direction are we moving? What systems are in place to ensure that the company moves forward? And that is what working on the business means. And sometimes it can be difficult to transition from working in the business where you are doing everything to working on the business. And you realize that a lot of times CEOs become more like firefighters and crisis managers trying to fight little fires within the company instead of having someone else do that while they think ahead and look at the next steps. So as the CEO, when it gets to the point where you have to now work on the business, what are the things that you are going to be doing, or what are the things that you have to be doing? So as CEO, the first thing you have to be doing when it comes to working on your business is you have to set the vision and the strategy for your company. Now, it's your responsibility to be able to say, this is where I want this company to be in 2 years, in 5 years. And by this strategy, this is how we plan to get there, or this is how we are going to get there. And after you have set that vision and strategy, it is your responsibility to be able to communicate that to the rest of your team in a very clear, concise way, such that it's on the mind of everybody. And any company that really doesn't have a sense of direction, you realize that your top employees or your top people, they go away, they go disgruntled because determined people and smart people want to be part of something big. And so if you are CEO, don't know where your company is going to be in the next 5 years or in the next 3 years, then you can't expect people to follow you. And if you are a firefighter, if you are spending all of the time quenching small fires, you don't have time to think about the future and what the vision should be. So that's like one of the things you should be working on. What is our strategy? What is our vision? Where are we going, and how do we get there? So that's the first thing. Another thing you have to be doing as CEO is fundraising. Raising funds to keep your company alive or ensuring that your company does not die. Now, startups are a race against time. You literally are racing to become either profitable, and if you cannot become profitable in the shortest time possible, then you're literally looking to keep raising funds to keep your company going as long as possible so you become profitable. And that's your job as CEO and one of your biggest focus. And raising funds is stressful, it's long, it's complicated, because for 100 fundraising applications you apply for 100 investors you speak to, you're probably going to get only a few people interested in your company. And if you're raising, say, funds from a VC, it takes as much as 6 months to even get a term sheet or get a deal closed. And it's your job to ensure that your company keeps going by being able to raise funds or gets to profitability very quickly. So the next thing you want to be doing is recruiting and team building. Now, a startup is as strong as the people that make up the startup. As a startup, your people are your biggest assets. And if you want to go very far quickly, it's very important that you're looking for the right people and then you're bringing the right people to join your team. Now, finding the right people is very difficult because more often than not, the people with the right skills, the people who, like the smart people that can really come into your company and take you to the next level, are people that are probably not looking for jobs. They have their own jobs, they're already employed somewhere, and most likely are looking for the next opportunity. So as CEO, it's your responsibility to network with people like these and convince them on why they should leave what they are doing. And usually you're trying to sell them on a certain vision. And in the beginning, you're looking for people that are not only motivated by money, but they believe in what you are doing. And it's important to find the right people. And finding the right people, it's like a whole job on its own. So if you're spending all of the time fighting little fires in your company, that is time that you don't have to go network and find the right people. So finding the right people and building your team is one of the most crucial things a CEO should be doing. So another thing that, in my opinion, is one of the most important things you should be doing as CEO is building systems and processes. So, when you start your company first, you really are not thinking about systems and processes. You're just thinking about, let me build a product, validate the idea, and see if it's a viable business opportunity. But as more people join your company, it's important to have systems and processes for how things are done. It ensures that you have order within your company, processes to be followed when it comes to certain things that have to be done. And the thing is, if there are no systems, there's nothing to measure and there's nothing to improve. If you have systems inbuilt, it means that if things are going wrong or things are not going according to the processes and systems you have built, you know where you're falling short and how you can improve. And systems and processes become very important when you begin to grow and when your numbers begin to increase. Otherwise, you realize that you have a very disorganized company where no one knows what they are doing because there is no way to track what anybody is doing. So systems and processes are very important. Yeah, so this is not an exhaustive list by any means, but these, in my opinion, are the critical things that any CEO of any startup should be focused on. True, in the beginning, you cannot be focused exclusively on these things because you have a product to build, you have day-to-day things that have to be done, and you don't have the staff strength to get all done. But you have to try and strive to get to the point where you're working on your business as soon as possible and have people that are working in the business, in the day-to-day activities of the business. So if you like this video, please hit the like button, subscribe, turn on notifications. It helps the channel grow and it helps me to keep making more videos like these. So on this note, until next week, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay awesome.